Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BSV TV. I'm your host Satoshi, and on this show we'll be defending the one and only, truly genuine Bitcoin. The Bitcoin that Satoshi Nakamoto designed in his white paper as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system for the world. Let's get the disclaimers out of the way. So all the statements that you hear on this show are opinion and must only ever be taken as opinion. They are never to be taken as any form of advice, family, financial, sexual or otherwise. And on that note, let's sit back, relax, have some fun and enjoy the show. Get paid for your content in Bitcoin and set your own fee on Streamanity.
Yeah, I'm not surprised I wasn't asked why I'm convinced Craig is Satoshi. I posted on Reddit. He signed in my presence using the private key from block number one, the very first mined Bitcoin block. On a computer that I'm convinced had not been tampered with, on software I'm convinced that had not been tampered with, a message of my choosing.
At InChain, we've just funded a number of universities doing, so far, a test up to 1 gigabyte because it validates what we've already done independently. We've tested up to 380 gigabyte blocks. We've tested 1 million transactions a second and transaction sizes up to 20 megabytes. Super complex scripts. Basically ones that can run operating systems. That's all of global commerce times about 50. On top of that, we can have complex scripts. On top of that, we can scale each of those transactions 1,000 times, which effectively means about 1 billion transactions per second, which means we can then have all derivatives, all complex trades. That means high frequency trading. It means everything that happens globally.
Is the market that effectively BSV is going for, is that global e-commerce, which is currently valued at $29 trillion?
No, that's too small.
Buy and sell Bitcoin instantly at bsvgravity.com. And you can now book and pay for your winter holiday at skibsv.com. Alrighty, good afternoon people. It looks like we are live. It's just coming up to 6:15 on Thursday the 29th of July 2021. Let's be gone. Welcome to Satoshi TV, aka Bitcoin SVTV, aka It's Just Bitcoin. So let's crack on with it. So first thing I want to go over that I spotted is this. What a fantastic post this is by our man CSW. So this says he says, I'm not here to help you sell Bitcoin. I should not need to help you if you want to sell a world with less corruption to people, a world where people are held accountable for their actions, and one where short-term manipulation takes second place to long-term stewardship is one that most people in society would be happy to embrace. Greg, that'll be Greggles Maxwell, and others will find that they can do very little now, and the truth that you know of is only the tip of the proverbial iceberg. It does not matter whether you like intellectual property, you live in a world of property rights and not one of communist redistribution. It doesn't matter whether you think other people should be forced to work or for you and allow you to use the product of their work effort without payment. For that is a world without patents, really is. If you don't like something, crying about it will do little. More importantly, not a single thing you say about me will stop me from working or creating. You won't manage to slow me, divert me, or change what I'm doing. The time where you could have done that is past. Alright, nice. Fighting talk there from CSW. Loving that. Loving that. I mean, just watch everything roll out now. And let me tell you, I'm addicted to looking at this at the moment. Look, so I posted this tweet. In fact, we can get the timeline up. Look at that. So this was 8:17 a.m. this morning. So normally it actually tells you whereabouts or how long ago it was. 9 hours ago. There we go. So I posted that 9 hours ago, and we were 84.5 gigabytes in front 9 hours ago. And look at this now. Look at this now. 86. We're on 86 already. Oh my goodness me. So that's like 1.5 gigabytes for 1.5. Is that right? 1.5 gigabytes in just 9 hours. That is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. I mean, just watch this motor. I'm really excited about this at the moment. This is something I'm really getting my teeth into every day. Look at some of these blocks coming through. Look, 43, 63, 18, 13, 10, 10, 5, 33, 84, 115, 254. Good grief. 43, 13, 16, 43, 42, 21, 34, 3, 14, 36, 124. Good grief. So that's 3 blocks in this column that are over 100 megabytes. And one that's over 200 megabytes. I mean, this is insane growth that we're looking at here of the chain. And to describe to you why that's significant, I wrote this tweet and I said, "This is so funny, it's laughable. Bitcoin mining operations compete to process data / transactions on chain. No transactions, no use. No use, no value. No value, no money." The most valuable chain is the chain with the most utility on it, because that's the chain that people are going to be using, and when you're using it, that's when you're processing transactions. It's so funny. It's so funny. Bitcoin gets its value for fundamental value from its neutral growth, which protects the data, and its technical value from the speed, cost, and scale of the network. And these miners just haven't figured it out yet, honestly. It just absolutely cracks me up. It really does. I do find it absolutely hilarious. But yeah, amazing. Let's have a quick look at this, just because I love looking at these graphs. Let's have a look at this over 3 months. Where are we now? I think this was like 22 megabytes per block on average when I last looked at it this morning. Here we go, 1 months. We do 3 months. Look at that. Where are we now? 22.89. Cool, almost 23 megabytes per block on average. It's just huge. The trend line is massive. It's accelerating so fast. I mean, like 1.5 gigabytes in 9 hours. So they're 24 hours in a day. 1 9, 2 3 27. So that's going to be going easily 3 gigabytes. 3 gigabytes in 24 hours. And this is just this. I mean, let's have a look at the size of the chains. Let's do where we are. Hold on 1 sec. Let's go back. Here we go. We want maybe it's transactions. So it's daily average Bitcoin transactions by network. Yeah, let's have a look at these transactions by network. That's Bitcoin block size. Yeah, no, not the block size just yet. Let's have a look at the transactions. Transactions by network. Here we go. Alright, so daily Bitcoin transactions by network summary. I mean, look at this. Look at this. So we've got Bitcoin with 684,000 transactions. Crikey Moses. At the moment, I mean, I guess that must be 24 hours, is it? I mean, my goodness, it's just huge. And Coin with 240. So let's have a look at the chain growth, which is down here. Oh my goodness me. Let's have a little looky. Here we go. Right, so we'll just extend that. So where are we now? Look at this. Look at this. So we've got 442 gigabytes on chain, and Coin has only got 362. So that means we're only 20 gigabytes off being 100 gigabytes in front, and we're going up by what at the moment 3 gigabytes a day. So we'll be there. We'll be over 100 gigabytes in front of CoreCoin in a week. And that's only if the rate of growth stays as it is, let alone not counting acceleration. I mean, this is huge. This is absolutely massive. I love this. Love looking at Bitcoin. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Come on, Bitcoin. Come on. You can do it. Amazing. All right. So let's get into some of these news articles then. I've seen a few that I want to get through. So this one looks quite cool. Electrum prepares to support special payment verification by PayMail. All right. Let's get into this then. So Electrum SV, the long-time popular desktop wallet for BSV, is getting ready to add special payment verification and PayMail functionality for its users. Or a simplified payment verification is what it is. PayMail has become a very popular way for BSV users to send and receive funds since it was introduced in 2019. Existing as a series of protocols, it allows users to send funds to an easily recognizable email-like address instead of copy and pasting long addresses, strings, or scanning QR codes. There's also a drive for BSV developers to implement simplified payment verification or simple payment verification, which is described in the original Bitcoin white paper, and Dr. Craig S. Wright describes as a critical aspect of scaling Bitcoin. The Ethereum SV development team tweeted last week that it is refactoring its code base and testing, and will release a beta version of 1.4.0 when done. The most current Electrum SV version is 1.3.13. Alright, Electrum SV should only be downloaded from the official project site, because I've seen a few bogus ones. And there's a guide on how to verify and download its official one. Source code for all resources is also available at the project GitHub page. Full-featured desktop wallet for BSV. In terms of old school Bitcoin functionality and user control, Electrum SV is probably the most full-featured wallet available for BSV. It is descended from the original Electrum Bitcoin wallet, the lightweight or thin wallet client for Bitcoin that first launched in November 2011. Other developers maintain versions of the original software for BTC and BCH. Electrum was novel at the time for not requiring users to download the entire blockchain simply to have a Bitcoin wallet. Though lightweight wallets on mobile devices have become the preferred option of most ordinary Bitcoin users these days, none has as much flexibility as Electrum SV offers. Wow. Private keys are deterministic and stored locally on users' machines, encrypted. Electrum SV is also one of the few Bitcoin wallets to support multi-signature transactions and has arrangements with services like AnyPay and Senti for streamlining invoices. If you still have unspent coins from before the BCH BSV split, Electrum SV has a guide for splitting the coins into separate wallets. The development team also makes Electrum SV Node a full node Bitcoin client aimed specifically at application developers. The project's documentation page also has information on local testing, access to Bitcoin SV scaling testnet, and a REST API to be formalized on version 1.4.0. For interacting with external apps. There's a software development kit available, and even an unofficial implementation of MAPI for use in the software developer kit. Simplified payment verification coming to Electrum SV. Electrum SV's client/server model has led some over the years to assume it already used a simplified payment verification to verify transactions, but this is not the case. SPV requires users only to download Bitcoin transaction block headers rather than the full blockchain, making the total download less than 100 megabytes rather than the entire BSV blockchain's current size of over 437 gigabytes. If block headers don't match node records, then transactions won't verify. There's no need for every single user to have a full record of blockchain data. They only need to know if transactions are valid or not. Individual users can retain full information about transactions they themselves have been involved in, but it's not necessary to keep records of everyone else's. Dr. Wright has spoken at length about the importance of implementing SVP protocols on BSV, something that has never been properly done on other similar blockchains like BTC or BCH. He also describes it as a vital aspect of making Bitcoin peer-to-peer and performing millions of transactions per second. Get in there. Fantastic. Love it. That's a really good article there by John Southurst. So let's have a look at these other ones that I've seen as well. Binance, look at that. Binance promises pivot on its forced march towards compliance continues. Dole. Kraken CEO Jesse Powell admits to bank fraud on Twitter. That was really quite a funny one. Let's have a look at tech. Bitmain nears end of spin-off for Antpool. So they're separating, parting ways. But let's have a check out of this one. So these two articles are quite long here, but we'll see if we can get the gist of what they're on about here. So this is by Kurt Wotterk. Always very informed articles. So he said, the Mastercard Bitcoin conspiracy. I've spoken often about Mastercard's hegemony over BTC and general blockchain ecosystem. The information is public and verifiable, but critics rally to call the information conspiracy theories, which is offensive since Mastercard's blockchain patents and news of their acquisitions can be found with simple Google searches. So it got me thinking about other so-called conspiracies. Corporate, state and military conspiracy theories are often silly. Things like the enigmatic Q, flat earth and reptilian elite, while tantalizing, started in paranoid corners of the culture and made their way into mainstream, such as the chagrin of actual researchers everywhere. Folks like David Icke, the modern face of reptilian humanoid storytelling, have made millions of dollars on such ideas without anything other than half-truths and admittedly fun and interesting hearsay. Meanwhile, very real conspiracy theories get bundled together and tossed out the window along with the crazy ones. Some great examples would be the Gulf of Tonkin incident. In 1964, it was claimed by the National Security Agency that the North Vietnamese Navy fired torpedoes at the USS Maddox, demanding a military response and creating the predicate for the US entrance into the Vietnam War. The problem was that it never happened, but the US entered a decade of war anyways. On the home front from 1932 to 1972, the US government allowed the syphilis infection of African Americans in rural Alabama in order to document and study its natural progression without penicillin, telling the recipients that they were receiving treatment for bad blood and giving them free food and subsidized healthcare from the state. Oh my goodness me. Trust me, I'm from the US Public Health Service. Oh my god. and those to your reading list. Also add those to your reading list along with the MK Ultra Operation Paperclip, or the year-long unofficial presidency of Edith Wilson. I can't talk. The fact of the matter is that crazy things do happen, especially when money and power hang in the balance, and the Bitcoin economy is no exception. A moderate corporate conspiracy. Did you know that McDonald's ice cream machines have over 15% downtime? That's dismal by any business standard, but it's true. The biggest restaurant in the world has a terrible user experience with the ice cream machines when cleaning cycles are extremely fidgety, and error codes are indecipherable to company employees, leading to an incredible amount of downtime. So much downtime, in fact, that internet conspiracy theorists even exist to explain why. That sounds really quite funny. So it says the ice cream machines are manufactured by a company called Taylor. Since the early days of McDonald's, and they have had prosperous partnerships, so prosperous in fact that the Taylor manufactures the ice cream machines of Wendy's, Chick-fil-A and other major chains in such a way they have exponentially less downtime. Wait, what? It's true. Taylor makes an incredible amount of money selling services solutions to McDonald's franchises because the machines don't work very well by design. Their business model is to insert Taylor ice cream machines into McDonald's restaurants under exclusive contract for the purpose of forcing them to have to rely on their centralized and profitable solutions for their constant breakage. Good grief. The guaranteeing control and profit are forever due to complicated corporate structures. The spillover benefits go to McDonald's competitors in the form of more reliable machines. If franchisees want to switch solutions, the only option that the parent corporation allows is to switch to a software upgrade called Powerhouse Dynamics, which is owned by the parent company of Taylor, a firm called Middleby. So you can't really escape the system. All roads lead to profit by the central planners of the system, and all to the detriment of the franchisee and the customers of McDonald's. Good grief. Okay, that's outrageous. So what does this have to do with Bitcoin? Contrary to popular belief, Bitcoin Core, the repo, the teams of devs, and everything else associated with BTC is not decentralized. Decentralization doesn't even actually exist in any practical sense, even though BTC has been working on maximizing it for years. In reality, most attempts create a de facto business entities with major liabilities which fall onto individual contributors, so systems while creating decentralization theatre for the public. But to venture investors, it's all just business, and the developers are collateral damage. They aren't all innocent though. For example, the name Bitcoin Core has been used to establish an online presence to imply leadership or centrality over or even ownership of the system to use a bargaining chip for investment capital from big firms. Today, the BTC Core team is largely paid by Mastercard Ventures through various venture branches, and they are the rulers of the network through their developer proxies. Good grief. What does that say? The following applies to code changes to the Bitcoin Core project and related projects such as libsec. All right. Can anyone show me a time where BTC Core wasn't used as the reference client for protocol consensus changes? I'll wait. How did it get this way? Before 2015, most developers were unpaid volunteers in the Bitcoin economy, but the value of the project was growing despite the fact that they were not getting rich unless they were spending their hard-earned money from their day jobs and buying Bitcoin like any other person. This led to the pursuit of investment, and by 2015, Mastercard had led a seed round with Mitt Romney, Bain Capital, Transamerica Ventures, First Mass Capital, and New York Life to establish a company called Digital Currency Group, led by Silicon Valley darling Barry Silbert. Silbert stated, being structured as a company versus a fund allows us to evolve with the industry given our permanent capital base and flexible mandate, which means that they can be less held down by financial regulators and therefore have more influence over their portfolio companies. This led to the creation of a paid BTC development firm Blockstream, and the rest is history. Their portfolio also includes Lightning Labs, Kraken, Coinbase, BitGo, BitK, Blockstacks, CoinDesk, Circle, good grief, Chainalysis, Curve, eToro, Fireblocks, Genesis Trading, Grayscale, Itbit, Paxos, Ledger, Parity, Ripple, Hedra, as in Hedra Hashgraph, no way, RSK Labs, Ripano Network, Shapeshift, Zappo, and many more. Basically, they own over 90% of the public infrastructure for BTC and all of its competitors. With the hegemonic control in 2015, Mastercard was able to shift the narrative of Bitcoin from being a peer-to-peer electronic cash system and force its user experience into being unpleasant and occasionally unusable in order to create business opportunities for their other portfolio brands to profit from specialized services to BTC like Lightning Network. Oh my goodness me. Much like the Taylor powerhouse Middleby McDonald's, Mastercard has inserted themselves into every aspect of the management of all the profitable offshoots of BTC's failure to scale. And they make money whether it wins or loses based on providing services like customer and debit cards were just a year or two earlier. Intrepid entrepreneurs would have just built native Bitcoin point-of-sale systems. To what end? Like the McDonald's Taylor situation, there is no seedy conspiracy. It's just business, if you're willing to follow the money. Bitcoin was disruptive, so Mastercard muzzled it, using number go up as a lubrication to shut down the narrative of Bitcoin being a true fintech revelation. According to Silbert, we're still far away from Bitcoin being a functional currency, and I don't think we've gotten closer lately. First, it's going to function as a speculative investment that will drive up the price and create a large monetary base that will draw in Wall Street to trade it. That's all they want. There's no value in that whatsoever. Good grief. Once one company comes in to pump the bags of early investors, it makes things safer for other players to enter the space, like American Express, investing in Abra, or big acquisitions like Visa, Citi, and Nasdaq Capital One, etc. And amid the years of malaise, Mastercard has been bidding with central banks on being the provider of central bank digital currencies, instead of such things being replaced years ago by, check note, Bitcoin. Then, as far as the suits are concerned, BTC and everything else gets thrown on the scrap pile of history while they retain their power. And it was easy because everyone was silenced by becoming the petty bourgeoisie just for hodling. Absolutely, yeah. Crazy when you think about it. Crazy when you think about it. Now BTC's largest infrastructure partner, rather than going out of business, is looking to eliminate the need for BTC payments altogether, saying Mastercard is driving innovation with the public sector, banks, fintechs and advisory firms in the exploration of CBDCs, working with partners that are aligned to our core values and principles. This new platform supports central banks as they make decisions now and in the future about the path forward for local and regional economies. Ultimately, the goal is control. It always has been. The unbounded Bitcoin protocol eliminates the need for Silicon Valley tech startups, old world banks, inefficient monetary transmitters, credit card giants, and a whole bunch of other financial service providers. And that is exactly why Mastercard led the charge to tangle up the influencers, media and service providers in the Bitcoin economy, creating the altcoin trading, ICO, DEX, DeFi nightmare in the process. So on the altar of fiat profits, small blockers allowed the corporate subversion of BTC, which triggered the beginning of the still ongoing Bitcoin civil war for all the benefits of the banks and the big payments and fintech titans. But the BSV blockchain remains a testament to Satoshi's vision for a truly unbounded Bitcoin. It really is that simple. Great article there, Kurt. Great article. Hats off to you there, sir. Very good indeed. So there was just another editorial that I wanted to look at as well. Here we go. So 27 minutes already. Oh, I mean, this is another exceptionally long. I can't read all of this, but let's just get the gist of it. So the ESG washing of BTC Core, Hayek, Aristotle, and Lauderdale's paradox. Friedrich Hayek argued that denationalization of money was not a minor technicality of finance, but a crucial issue which may decide the fate of a free civilization. Absolutely. He was suggesting that private money would eliminate inflation. His love of deflation and hyperbole is a story for another day. But what he did not realize was that in an attempt to create a kind of private monetary system, a small group of people would represent a greater threat to free civilization, that of using humanity's scarce resources to create even greater scarcity. Absolutely. Destroying useful resources to create managed scarcity is an intuitively silly thing to do, but this is not the first time this has happened. Dutch colonists in Asia burnt spiceries, and plantation owners of the deep south burnt tobacco, both to keep prices up, not to mention the absurd history of Europe's common agricultural policy with its wine lakes and button mountains. In this tradition, the BTC core, BTC community, is creating a narrative to expound BTC's alleged ESG. What was ESG standing for again? Egg money something. There we go. Environmental social governance. Right, got it. Credentials attempting to legitimize burning huge amounts of energy to digitally manage scarcity. All is not what it seems. Absolutely. The situation manifests a problem identified over 200 years ago by radical Scottish lord, the Earl of Lauderdale. He extends Adam Smith's distinction between value in use and value in exchange, originally an Aristotelian distinction between true wealth and spurious wealth / riches, presenting a problem that has become known as Lauderdale's paradox. Public wealth, the sum total of humanity's youthful resources, may be negatively associated with the growth of private riches, the scarcity-induced market value of exchangeable commodities. Rich monopolists will often seek to destroy wealth or impede wealth creation because widespread wealth undermines the relative value of their personal riches. Yeah, I get that. Aristotle attempted to differentiate between what he regarded as natural and unnatural activities around money. The naturalness of oikonomike, production and exchange necessity for life, as contrasted with the unnatural, I can't even pronounce that, crematist-like, trading goods purely to make more money. All right, that's what it means. Right. Additionally, Aristotle identified, oh, good grief, obolos static-like, the breeding of money for money as the most hated, dehumanizing, and unnatural activity. So is that the printing of money, I guess is what he means by that, breeding of money. In a modern capitalist society where investment capital is traded routinely, lives are longer and retirement is part of a normal life cycle. Aristotle's morally tinted reasoning may seem out of place, but he has a point in logic here. Speculation in BTC is not about natural economics. It's more akin to either unnatural crematistic or oblistatic. Well, learning new words every day, good grief. Seeking money with no quid pro quo for society and with no logical end point. Where does it end? When all the energy in the world is used purely to create an unnatural, scarce monopoly asset. It is indeed unnatural in Aristotle's sense. Aristotle's relating to this problem to the parable of Midas. He perhaps more deeply relevant than it may seem on first reflection. The world can't eat digital assets. Where does it end? Today, the only function of BTC, the denatured fork of Bitcoin blockchain, is to create a scarce digital asset representing spurious riches that can be traded in high-value financial transactions to breed money from money. Exactly, yeah. I mean, it's just robbing Peter to pay Paul, basically. When the Bitcoin blockchain project became dominated by a group of developers who saw the bubble opportunity of promoting a get-rich-quick scheme alongside a brand of faux libertarian ideology steeped in a conception of high-value property rights that trumped any conception of human rights and would make John Locke shudder. They gelled around the idea of a form of digital gold, Midas gone digital. The increasingly expensive, computationally, hence thermodynamically, proof of work is applied merely to secure something a group of people have decided by their fiat is akin to gold to trade in high denominations between themselves. We may indeed ask, where does it end? BTC promoters are conscious that for this otherwise useless, easily predictable asset to continue rising in value, it needs more believers and more demand. As such, a further unspoken command is that, like any pyramid scheme, users must also promote the scheme to others. Narratives are extremely important here. Well-marketed sophistry can make a silly idea sound appealing. And this is precisely what the, what was this, economics something or other? The ESG washing around BTC, still irritatingly referred to as Bitcoin, in the media is all about. Yeah, absolutely is all about that. There are certainly narratives that can be applied to digital gold which attempt to make it sound legitimate. Such narratives again often develop from a strong libertarian ideology and the Austrian School of Economics. Both with ideological objections to government policy, tools of inflation and taxation. It is difficult to widen the appeal of such ideological narratives in a democratic society because, as Hayek argued, liberalism and democracy are not the same thing, and may be antithetical to each other. Trying to impose a form of scarcity-inducing deflationary private money in a democracy may need an authoritarian hand. Sounds like Roger Ver all over, really. Protecting personal wealth against inflation is obviously a key objective for many investors, but we have transparent and democratically mandated 2% inflation targets that can be managed through traditional investments of the kind that actually serve the natural function of allocating capital and resources to progress capitalist growth. What would be termed a natural Crematis-like in a modern Aristotelian sense. The now too familiar Chicken Little paranoia of the inflationists is disingenuous. It has become normalized to claim that BTC will not just double in price, that would hedge likely inflation for 2 to 3 decades, but it could go up beyond our wildest dreams. 1 million, 2 million, hey, stock to flow, $100 trillion. Anyone can be a millionaire just by hodling, promoting FOMO. Have fun staying poor is a highly disingenuous sales tactic, and indeed such claims would be a clear breach of the fiduciary responsibility of any sensible asset manager or indeed corporate officer. This is I haven't got time to read it all. I've been going for 35 minutes. That's actually quite good. I might read that on my own. I quite enjoyed that one. Neil Smith, very good, very good. Some new words in there that I've learnt. And the Lauderdale's paradox. I'm gonna have to read this carefully. But yeah, quite enjoyed that. Great stuff. Right, we'll leave it there because that's 36 minutes. That's the end of the show. So shout out to people in the chat box. Starting from the top, we've got Oxono, Reform 2 Mini Coiner, Elvis Coolcat, and Savtoshi. All right, mate, in the house. Good stuff. Good to see you again. And we've got Neezy and Brain fart. Good grief. Keith Fellows. I always think of Big Bollocks. That's hilarious. Right, people. Pay mails and chat box. Or pay mails and the handles in the chat box. Let's do this. Rock and roll. In fact, you know, while we're here, we will have the coin dance back up. Just because I'm loving coin dance at the moment. Seeing how far we are ahead in terms of growth. Where are we now? Let's have a look at that. 86.3. Loving that. Loving that. Loving that. Orange kicks in there as well. Here we go. Right, first one in there. Here we go. Yeah, got it. Sweet. On the way to you. Turning the volume up. Got it. Orange kicks is first. Starting from the top, so Oxono, I think that should be, I think I've got that in there. Yeah, got it, there we go, swiping to send on the way. And Elvis Coolcat, yeah, we've got your Simply Cash here we go, ELIV. IS even, there we go, got it. Love it, swiping to send on the way to you, Elvis Coolcat, that's your one. And Reform 2 Mini Coiner, present, thank you very much. Use it or lose it. There we go. Swiping to send on the way. And Suave Toshi, here we go. That's Sav Toshi, nice one. Swiping to send on the way. And Neezy, you are next. And then KP72 will be on the way to you. There we go, Neezy, swiping to send on the way. And KP Dads, here we go. Rock and roll, loving those articles that you're pumping out on Twitter recently. Very good and informative. There we go. And Keith Fellows on the way to you. That starts with a BIG. Here we go. BIG for Big Bollocks. Got it. Swiping to send on the way. There we go. All right, peeps. Right, we're now up to date with the news and all that. Never a dull moment in crypto. Loving what I'm seeing at the moment. Keep up to date with the figures. Let me know if you see anything. And as ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there. Joy giving. Catch you guys later. Get paid for posting your pics on Relica. Download the app now at www.getrelica.com. Get your tweet etched on Twitch. Forever on the Bitcoin blockchain. Do it today at www.jointwitch.com. BuyBSV.live, the best place to buy Bitcoin SV online. Support independent content creators on micropayment platforms such as Streamanity, Twitch and Relica. We should profit from our data, not the large corporations who track, monitor and sell it. If you enjoy the Bitcoin content that I produce, please support me by heading over to www.satoshi.tv, where you can keep up to date with all the latest news, gossip and content as it's created. Thanks very much. To get started in Bitcoin, go to freebsv.com, where you can claim your free Bitcoin. Then head over to Twitter and follow @IamSatoshi, where you can take part in his very generous and world famous free giveaways. The future of advertising meets the power of Bitcoin at Tonic Pow. Get paid for posting advertising campaigns to your social media profiles. Go to www.tonicpowads.com.